Hello, Rama Pupote. Hope all are in good health, feeling great, wonderful, having a happy and peaceful life. Now let's continue with devotee Santamal. When Santamal needed some money, within 3 days she got money order for the exact amount that she needed. It was sent by someone named Srinivasa Rao, who had read an article in the newspaper about Ramana Maharishi. When he read that a lady cook named Santamal had come to the ashram to serve Bhagavan, he had an urge to send her some money. Santamal later told me that these two incidents proved that complete faith in the Guru was enough. One day, Bhagavan and Santamal were cooking in the kitchen. Bhagavan was stirring the vegetable stew continuously when he suddenly stopped and looked at her. Santamal immediately became still. Everything disappeared, leaving behind only complete silence and pure joy. She was experiencing the highest beatitude. After some time, Bhagavan started moving and Santamal came back to her senses. He looked at the stew and said, "This has boiled fully and become noiseless. Now you can add the spices." Santamal understood this to mean that she should make the mind noiseless and in that state add the spice of wisdom to it. This is how Bhagavan incorporated the teaching into daily activities. On another occasion, Bhagavan entered the kitchen just as Santamal finished cooking a dish. She requested Bhagavan to taste it. Bhagavan jovially answered, "You know, the kings have food tasters, whom they pay enormously for doing this job. Santamal, this is what you are asking me to do. What is the payment that you will give me?" Santamal replied, "Bhagavan, I am a beggar. I can only give you myself." This surrender was wholeheartedly accepted by the master. Santamal's cooking was loved by all, not only because it was extremely tasty, but because it was done by a fully surrendered soul. Santamal narrated an interesting incident that took place in the hall. There was once a stranger, a European, who came to the ashram in a horse cart and went straight into the hall. There he gave Bhagavan a piece of paper he had written something on. Bhagavan read it and looked at him. Immediately the man closed his eyes and became quiet. After some time, Bhagavan too closed his eyes and they remained together in silence. A few people around them were also submerged in that peace. The lunch bell rang as usual at 11, but Bhagavan and the European were unmoved. At 12, both opened their eyes. The European left ecstatic. Bhagavan once said, "With whichever vessel you go to the ocean, you can get only that much water. If it is merely a cup, you will get a cup of water. If it is a bucket, you will get a bucket. Go and loot the whole ocean." This European came to loot the whole ocean. Santamal told me what a fortunate person the European was to have received that grace. Another interesting incident that Santamal has recorded involves a Hindu monk. Once, an aged North Indian monk came to Ramana Ashramam and stayed there for a few weeks. On the last day, he came to Bhagavan and stood in front of him and said, "Bhagavan, Everything in Ramana Ashramam has given me great satisfaction. Now I am ready to leave, fulfill my heart's desire. Bhagavan did what he has perhaps never done before or after. He stood up, walked up to the monk, and touched him. Both stood like this for some time until the monk fell at Bhagavan's feet with tears flowing from his eyes. Getting up with an exquisite smile on his face and filled with ecstasy, he left Bhagavan's presence. One more happening shared by Santamal and not found in any of Bhagavan's other books involves the Mysore Maharaja. During the British regime, there were over 300 kingdoms within India, each one having a king, queen, palace, and army. Among these, two of the biggest were Hyderabad and Mysore. The Mysore Maharaja was a scholar and patron of the arts and culture. One day, wishing to be unnoticed, he came to Bhagavan in the dead of night and stayed until early the next morning. He wanted a private audience with Bhagavan, but Bhagavan had never obliged anyone before. There were always devotees in the hall with him or when he went walking up the hill. So Bhagavan permitted the Maharaja to meet him in the 8 by 8 foot bathroom where he bathed. The Maharaja fell at Bhagavan's feet and wept. Santamal writes that Bhagavan himself said that the king's tears drenched his feet. The Maharaja then got up and said, Bhagavan, they have made me king and forced me to sit on the throne. For this reason, I am not able to come and stay with you and be in your presence. These few moments are the only precious few in my whole life. After this, I will not be able to come. Please bless me. When Santamal asked Bhagavan about the Maharaja, Bhagavan said just one sentence: He is a ripe fruit. Every year in Tiruvannamalai, the Kartigai festival is celebrated in a grand manner for 10 days. Lord Arunachala's idol is taken on a procession around the town and thousands of devotees flock to watch this grand sight. Among these devotees, many were beggars, sadhus, or sannyasins, and they would come to Ramana Ashramam to have their food. Though they would all be served, the ashram workers felt that the crowd was unmanageable one particular year. Let's continue in the next chapter. Thank you. Bye bye. Rama Rama Pupodu.